What's up, guys? This is Maro here. This is just one of the most interesting sort of ways I've seen of presenting data over time. I was working on an assignment and I just was looking at some data sets on the World Bank website. I looked at this data set, which was very, very interesting, sort of for entrepreneurs. If you want to start your business, how many days it would require you in each African country to register your paperwork, to get everything done. And the interesting thing about this data set is that if there is sort of a shortcut in which you can use, which is legal, by the way, not corruption, but if there is a shortcut in which you could use that would require more money, it's even included in this data set. And so maybe if it takes 23 days to register in Burundi, but then if you paid $500 more, it will take you 13 days, that's already what's reflected here. So sort of this interesting data set from 2004 all the way to 2019. So let's just see what happens here, which is sort of interesting. So the data as it is coming through, you see the changes that are happening there. Ethiopia, Morocco, they are improving. So just as 2005 is starting, you see that Morocco and Tunisia there representing North Africa. Our top five, you have two Northern African countries, two East African countries, and one West African country. Central Africa is, of course, coming trailing, but Southern Africa is really down here. You have very few countries, at least you would say, that are sort of friendly in as much as, giving that opportunity for the entrepreneur to just open their business. Because if, for example, it's in Malawi or Zambia, you're talking about Southern Africa, which is sort of the countries with the highest or the best sort of rate at which you can register your company. It would mean in 2005, it would take you 36 days to register your company in Zambia and 37 days in Malawi, which is kind of a lot. So let's see what happens here as the time keeps moving on. As everything else is improving, sort of the countries are catching up. You see Egypt there going up. It's sort of interesting what happens in 2006. There's a massive change. Egypt has gone up. Madagascar, if you look at it, it keeps going up throughout 2006. It seems like Southern African countries were responding and they realized that they needed to woo investors and to make it very easy. Mauritius is one of the countries which is sort of now other people consider it a tax haven, but very interesting there. Mauritius has really sort of improved its ease of doing business, and that comes with factors like the number of days it takes an entrepreneur to open a business. So in 2009, if we just paused here at this moment, you look at it, Mauritius is now leading, followed by Senegal and Ghana. West Africa and Southern Africa have now improved. You see East Africa being pushed down, and this is definitely changing as the time is moving on. 2009, you start having one other country which is now considered by investors a very, very good country to do business in, Rwanda. It has improved. You start to have East Africa leading there and a bit of Southern Africa. Central Africa keeps being pushed down here. You only have Cameroon, which is down here. Sort of interesting what's happening. Liberia is closing the gap and going there. 2012, as we can pause here, you see that West African countries have really been performing well. Overall, you just have East Africa represented by Rwanda and Southern Africa by Mauritius, but the rest is really West Africa. If we keep on going, 2012, as it is going, you see Burundi is improving and South Sudan, and then you start seeing Zambia coming here from Southern Africa, Southern African countries, Zambia coming up, and Cote d'Ivoire. They're sort of closing down the gap and massively reducing the number of days it would take for an entrepreneur to register the business. You see Mauritania there is also improving. So it seems like most of these changes keep happening and political administrations learn about them and they're like, well, we got to improve that so that investors can come to our countries and so that, people can open their business quickly and they'll be able to operate. 2016, you start to have East Africa really becoming the region that's sort of responding to this and trying to woo investors. Sort of interesting there, you see Togo has gone all the way up. Mauritius closing down the gap in Mauritania. Sort of interesting, but we'll see as we head towards 2019, you start to see a rearrangement. And though West Africa still has the majority of countries, because of course West Africa also has the majority of countries in Africa in terms of just pure numbers, but you start to see the rearrangement there. Togo becoming actually the best country in terms of this category of doing business, which is that at this moment in 2019, you'd only need 2.5 days for you to sort of start and operate your business in Togo. In Rwanda, you would need 4, in Mauritius 4.5, which is still sort of high, but it seems like over time these countries have sort of improved. If you look at these statistics and compare what we had in 2004, our top five were two North African countries, two East African countries, and two West African countries. Right now, in 2019, we now have two West African countries, which shows that West Africa actually improved from one country to two countries. We have two East African countries. East Africa maintained sort of the number of countries it had as of 2004 and as of now, and one Southern African country, Southern Africa, which was non-existent actually in the top five, has actually shot up via Mauritius, and these two Northern African countries have sort of disappeared. But overall, it seems like West Africa is really in the top 20 of doing business in Africa, which is sort of interesting and very, very sort of interesting when you look at this and these statistics over the continent. So thank you so much for watching. Don't go yet though, because there is another bonus which is just going to be running through without me talking in the background, which is of the West countries, at least in as much as this category is concerned, the countries where it would require you the most number of days for you to register your business. You might be shocked. You might figure out that your country is there. My country, Zimbabwe, is definitely there on the list of the countries where it will take you the most number of days for you to register your business. So stay tuned for that. Thank you. And until next time, my name is Maro.